Welcome to the Bantams online YouTube channel. This is Season 2 of the Bradford City Football Manager journey. Before we get started, please take a moment to hit that like button, and also if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon, which will update you as soon as another episode is released. And you can follow at Bantams Online on X. So the last season ended in disappointment, with Bradford City finishing 8th, 1 point shy of the playoff places, after this goal gave strugglers Newport County all 3 points at Valley Parade on the last day of the season. And I let my team know exactly what I thought about that after the game in the dressing room, and now the mission is to finish in the top 3, preferably as champions, and have a massive rebuild and clear out this summer to make room for my long-term project. And my first bit of business to sort out was this issue with Jake Young. Started dropping hints that he wants to play for a bigger club and he might consider leaving us. I don't think he's expecting anything from me at the moment, but it might be worth having a word with him to try and get it sorted. See if I can try and get it sorted. Jake Young said, I need to leave the club, I've outgrown this place and need to find a new home more suited to my ability. And looking at it, well, the only option I really had was to say that although I won't try and force a move, I will consider any bids that come in for him. And if you don't want to stay at the club, what can you do? Luckily for us, we still have Tyler Smith, who actually scored more goals and was joint top goal scorer with Paul Mullin last season. Jake Young obviously got 19 goals. Tyler Smith finished with 21. And George Miller, third top goal scorer there as well. And in the end of season team meeting, I have said that we want to make sure we make the playoffs this season. Bearing in mind, before that, my target was to reach mid-table, or it might have been to stay up and not go out of business. I can't remember which one it was. But my real target is to go up as champions. So onto the team report. Obviously Jake Young is our best player up front. Jack Hinchy is a player that I want to get back permanently at Valley Parade. A few notable points. The players are determined and committed, which is something I mentioned in the last episode. It's something that I concentrate on when I'm building my team. Denver Hume has been in fantastic form recently with an average rating of 7.2. With just 1k left in the transfer budget, I don't have much room for manoeuvre, and that's something I will be sorting out this summer. With just £775 per week left in the wage budget, there's not much room to manoeuvre either. Again, something I'm addressing in the summer. And my initial budget has been set by Ryan Sparks. It's an initial wage budget of 71k and a transfer budget of 0. On the budget front, committed spending is 51k out of 71,000 player budget, so that's something that has been massively reduced. And it's time for the end of season review, where we can get a look at some of the signings that were made, and we can see that Jack Hinchy, who is on loan from Brighton, has done really well, getting an average rating of 7.21, and he made 15 appearances, and in that time he scored 2 goals and made 4 assists. Matt Macy made 8 appearances and he got an average rating of 7.08. And you've got to bear in mind as well that not all these players were signed by me. Some of them were Mark Hughes' signings, and that includes Addon Wilson, who made 5 full appearances and 14 off the bench, and he did well with 6.92 average rating, so it leaves me a bit of a dilemma with him. Also, Lewis Richards, he's now competing with my new signing Denver Hume. Richards made 27 appearances and that provided 1 goal and 2 assists with an average rating of 6.91, which is not too shabby. But Denver Hume, who signed from Portsmouth for 5k, has made 11 appearances, 3 of those from the bench, and he's come up with 2 goals and 1 assist. And let's look at Liam Moore. Liam Moore was brought in on a short-term contract and he's impressed with an average rating of 6.89 in 6 appearances. And as you'll already know, Bradford City finished 8th in the league. First place was Colchester, followed by Notts County and Wrexham, who went up automatically, with 6th place Crewe in the playoffs, gaining promotion to League One. And you'll see that everything was going well until those last 3 games of the season when we ballsed it up and we managed to drop out of the playoff places after just getting in there. We went out of the FA Cup in the first round to Doncaster, and we didn't fare any better in the Carabao Cup, getting knocked out in the first round by Wrexham. We did make it to the knockout stages in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, but we were knocked out by Manchester City under-21s. And moments to remember, our biggest win of the season was a 4-1 victory at Valley Parade against AFC Wimbledon, and the goal of the season actually came on Denver Hume's debut for Bradford City. He scored this 24-yard screamer in the same match, and that was from episode 5 in Series 1. And even though I rotated the team quite a bit while I was trying to settle on a system, these are the players who were in the team most. And you might notice Emmanuel Osadebe in there. Most of his appearances came under Mark Hughes. But it was Brad Halliday who picked up the Player of the Year award with his average rating of 7. He also provided us with a goal and 8 assists in his role. And on top of that, in February, he signed a new 2-year contract with us as well. And the Young Player of the Year, unsurprisingly, is Bobby Poynton, with signing of the year being Denver Hume. Top goal scorer went to Tyler Smith with 21 goals and the most assists with 9 assists, and picked up 6 Player of the Match awards, but obviously it was Brad Halliday with the highest average rating. And the most passes completed per 90 minutes went to Jack Hinchy on 44. Worst discipline, Richie Smallwood with 10 yellow cards and 1 red card. That's the history of last season, but we're concentrating on the brand new season now. And here are just a few other things that you can pause and read at your leisure. Back to the dividing issue with the fans. I'm trying to get rid of Andy Cook, and there isn't teams willing to match his wage demands, which I knew was going to be a problem. He's going to want to stay where he is if he can't find anybody that does that. So I'm going to try lowering the asking price to see if that helps. And a bit of deja vu, a player being linked with Lincoln City this time. It's Jake Young. Understandably, he's attracting offers from League One, and I will sell him if the price is right, but I'm not going to let him go for peanuts. And in my backroom staff meeting, it was mainly about the futures of Harry Chapman and Jamie Walker. It was noted that Harry Chapman doesn't want to sign a new contract, so that makes my life a little bit easier because I want to let him go anyway. I'm advised not to offer Jamie Walker a new deal, which is due to the fact that there's a lot of competitions in and around his place. And I agree with that, and I'll be most likely letting him go at the end of his contract. And Matt Derbyshire, well, that's a no-brainer. I'm releasing him at the end of his contract, which expires very soon. And he must have been listening at the door because he's now decided to retire from football, which is good news because he didn't feature in my plans at all. Kevin McDonald is retiring from professional football, so that is that. Nothing I can do about it. And Liam Rydalge has decided to retire as well. Time to make a decision with some of these contracts. Liam Moore, who was signed to the end of the season, he's somebody I want to renew his contract. He's done very well for us. And I was paying him $2,000 a week just because it were a short-term contract, so I can see about getting him on an even cheaper deal in the summer. But it's about time to put the whole Jamie Walker situation to bed. I am setting him for release as well as Harry Chapman. And I'll be doing the same with Sam Bentley too. So the headlines there are Jamie Walker and Harry Chapman are leaving Bradford City. And because I've offered a longer contract for Liam Moore, I managed to get him a lot cheaper. 1.1k a week, absolute bargain, so that's in the bag. Things are going well. And this one will divide a few opinions. Andy Cook has gone to Shrewsbury Town for a fee of £15,000. He's an expensive player to have on the books, and I've got strikers that are scoring goals, so it made sense to get him a move away from Valley Parade. What are your thoughts on getting rid of Andy Cook in the summer to save on the wage bill? Let me know in the comments. And of course, the deal that I mentioned in the last episode, Clark Adore, he is on his way as well. And 2 players that I'm bringing in, Lewis Brown, who you saw in the last episode, 18-year-old centre-back from Arsenal, and Josh Nichols, a 17-year-old fullback who has plenty of potential. So taking a closer look at these players, Louis Brown, 6'2", 6'2" and he's only on £250 a week, so it's a good deal. And he can also play left back, which is a bonus, and already has decent tackling stats and a very high determination, which is important. Okay, there's room to improve when it comes to his heading and jumping, but they're development areas. That's what it's all about. Already good for most National League clubs and potentially EFL Championship. He seems like the type of player who might also get there because of that determination that he's got, and he's committed and he gives his all, and that's exactly the type of player I want at Bradford City. And then there's Josh Nichols on £230 a week. Again, not much out of the budget. He's a right back or a right wing back, and he can also fill in on the left, which is handy. His crossing, passing and tackling are all promising. He's got a good work rate. Look at this for pace and acceleration. That is going to be absolutely massive if we could get the best out of him. So he's got the potential to be better than Brad Halliday, and Brad Halliday is doing a brilliant job for us already. So he's not even that far when you look at it from being able to start. Luke Hendry will be on his way soon, and he's going to be there or thereabouts, maybe getting opportunities in the first team this season. And we've had two pretty good offers from Bolton and Peterborough to sign centre-back Matty Platt. Matty Platt, as you know, signed a new contract with us in the January transfer window or just before, and I'm going to ask for a bit more money from the teams and see what I can get out of them, because I do have plans for players coming in, and Luke Moore, don't forget, has signed for us, so there is a space for a defender to go out, and Matty Platt might be the ideal candidate, and he'll get us some money in at the same time. So Peterborough have found my demands acceptable, which is fine. Let's just see what Bolton will take now, if I can up the ante otherwise. No, they've accepted that as well, so now we'll try and get Peterborough to match that then. Yeah, this looks like a good deal for me as far as I'm concerned. I'm quite happy with that, and we'll see what materialises. And if you remember in the last series, I had a fallout with Alex Patterson because of his playing time. Well, I did say he was going to go, and I am being true to my word. I'm going to try and get as much as I can out of it at the same time, but yeah, I definitely want rid of him, so I don't necessarily want to scare crew off. It looks pretty reasonable anyway, to be fair, so I'm pretty pleased with that. They've accepted it, and the bonus is that it's a decent transfer fee for a player that's either been injured or I've fallen out with or not using, so it's a great deal for me, that. Oh, you can fuck off. This is the problem I've had with Patterson. It's been one thing after another, and now he wants a payoff. Well, I don't mind giving him a bit of a payoff to get rid of him, but it's going to have to be on my terms, hopefully. But he's not an easy person to bargain with. I'm going to be getting 300k for him. What am I willing to sacrifice just to get rid of him? Because, to be honest, the money coming in is a hell of a lot more than he will be taking away for himself, and it's absolutely crucial, this deal. And it seems like he's got me by the short and curlies in this negotiation, to be fair. But we got him down to a more reasonable figure, so I'll take that. And on the incoming side of things, it looks like my plan has worked. Obviously, I've got to just wiggle the budget around a little bit to get him in, but at 1.7k per week, that's a really, really good deal for a player that I know will be going straight into my midfield because he did so well during his loan period. And just confirmation there that Jamie Walker is leaving and he's heading to Kilmarnock. And just a bit of worrying news as the Vultures are circling for our Player of the Year, Brad Halliday. He's got higher division teams after him, and he is looking like he wants a move out of Valley Parade. I don't want that to happen under any circumstances. He's massively important to my plans, but I've got to handle it delicately and make sure I pick the right thing to say to him to convince him to stay with me at Bradford City and be an important part of my plans and getting me out of League 2, and he'll get to play in League 1 anyway. I don't want to lose you. I need you to show some faith in our youngsters here. They're a talented bunch. Give them a year to bed in properly. I think that's probably the best decision. That's the one to go for, and he's content with that. It worked. So it's a decent point. The kids are looking very promising. I'm willing to stay for a year to see if they can kick on. Perfect. So let's turn these offers down now from Carlisle and Oxford United. they can go do one. A new scout joining the club. If anybody remembers Ipswich Town from the 1980s, in fact I'm fairly sure he scored the goal that cost us automatic promotion in the 1987-88 season when Bradford City lost 3-2 to Ipswich Town. Well, Romeo Zondervan was the man, and he will be scouting for Bradford City now. And there we have it. Matty Platt will be going to Bolton Wanderers for a fee that will eventually rise to $200,000. The board have agreed to give me $52k out of that to add to my transfer budget, and it all comes in handy at this moment in time, so it's all good. More outgoings. Alex Patterson has agreed a deal to leave the club to join Crewe Alexandra. So let's just get a quick look at how the budget's shaping up. $107,497 on the transfer budget, and we're spending $48,377 on wages at the moment, but we're only committed to $30,500 next season. I did try and have a dialogue with Bryce Hosanna, but we couldn't agree on terms. Basically, I don't need him as a starter, and he wasn't wanting that. He wanted to be a regular starter. Brad Halliday, the situation is that Oxford United are rumoured to be interested in him. I don't care who's interested in him, he's not going anywhere. And just a quick look at how the squad looks. Now, this is going to be a big time cut down from all of the players that you can see in here. Callum Kavanagh, I can't afford. And Damari Samuels isn't interested in a permanent move. So that idea has gone down the pan. And the draw has been made for the first round of the Carabao Cup. We'll be playing Port Vale at Vale Park. And I've signed a promising young goalkeeper, 21-year-old Marcelo Pitaluga. He is going to be someone who will more likely get a run out in the cup matches and maybe go out on loan. Well, here we are, and this isn't even the complete retained list. Luke Hendry, Ryan East, Harry Chapman, Finn Cousin-Dawson, Harvey Rowe, Dylan Yumby, Sam Bentley, Freddie Jeffries and Heath Richardson have now officially left their club. But there's also Jamie Walker, Liam Rydalge, and I can't even remember who else. But it does at least give you an idea of the scale of this rebuild. And this is the state of affairs with the contracts that expire next summer. As you can see, it's Kyle Bartley, Richie Smallwood, Sam Walker, Bobby Point and Alex Gilliard, Kieran Kelly, Lewis Richards, and the two new signings, Lewis Brown and Josh Nichols, that are due to have their contracts expire next summer. And just to explain something, I could only get Nichols and Brown on a one-year deal. Otherwise, I'd like to have signed them for longer for a bit more security, but there is compensation should they leave anyway. And because it's quite important, I'm going to give you another update on how the budget looks at the moment as well. So as you can see, there's £104,730 on the transfer budget, but it's this wage budget. Look at how far that is down. Currently spending $35,000 out of a $71,000 wage budget. That gives me plenty of scope to get the players that I need, and this is exactly why I brought in some players on short-term contracts and on loans, rather than using some of the money that I did make available to go out and get another permanent signing. And it's something Derek Adams actually did when he was manager of Bradford City. The team didn't have anything to really spend on decent players, so it meant we ended up with players like Theo Robinson, but it was just enough to stay in the division. We weren't going to go down, we weren't going to go up, so just get through to the summer and do a rebuild. And all of the players he brought in were either on loans or just end of season contracts, and that then meant if he had got there, he'd have been able to rebuild the squad with a very competitive budget. You know, it was because he'd have had something in the same region free in wages that, well, as he saw Mark Hughes had. This is one of the reasons why it's a really bad idea chopping and changing managers so often, because even Richard O'Donnell pointed out the same problem that was happening. You get one manager comes in with one system, inherits players that are no longer any use, but they're still getting a wage and they're in a 2-year contract, and it comes to the summer, they're still in contract, and that means there's less available on the wage budget to bring in new players. He ends up finding he's struggling and he gets the sack, so the cycle continues. And just as a point of reference for you, if you want to know where Richard O'Donnell pointed to the problem with the turnover of managers, that was in an interview that was done with the City Vent. And naming the training camp for the pre-season fixtures gives you some idea of how trimmed down this squad actually is now. It is dangerously low, so I do need to start bringing in some more players, but at least I've been able to keep the key players at the club for now. And another new arrival, Kobe Small, the centre-back from Arsenal. He's only 18 years old. And we've also signed Cameron Perpion, signed on a free transfer from my favourite hunting ground at Brighton. And he is 22 years old and should be able to hit the ground running with our team. He looks very promising as well for the future. And he will be on 2,600 a week, so he's a mid-range paid player. He did spend time on loan in League 1 at Cheltenham last season, so he's got a bit of experience already, which will come in really handy for us. And again, it's another one of those signings where I've got one eye on being in League 1 next season. Anyway, he's on a 2-year deal. He'll be with us until 2026. Probably the best known name signing so far, Dan Kemp has joined Bradford City on a free transfer. Obviously he was with Jake Young at Swindon Town and they formed quite the team together with all those goals and all those assists. So I thought it'd be a good idea to get the band back together. That's the master plan, but as we know, not everything always goes to plan. Anyway, his contract is on a 2-year deal and he's on £2,600 a week, so it's not too bad. But I've got to admit, I'm looking forward to seeing how well he gets on in my new look Bradford City team, and it'll be fascinating to see whether he will become a key signing or not. Another what I'd call marquee signing, Jensen Weir, another one that we raided Brighton for. He was at Blackpool last season, made 36 appearances for them and has been on loan at Morecambe, started his career at Wigan Athletic. He is most likely to go straight into the team in that central midfield pairing, and he'll probably go alongside Jack Hinchy, which starts to leave me with decisions to make about players like Richie Smallwood. And on 4,300 a week, he is our top earner, so it is a big deal, this one. But just a few days later, I got this opportunity that was way too good to resist. Free agent Panucci Kamara. Let's just look at his contract details. He is a big earner, but he is worth it. 3,400 per week. So it looks like Panucci Kamara and Jensen Weir will start in midfield, which might be a bit of bad news for Jack Hinchy, but again it throws into question the future of Richie Smallwood. Kamara's made 34 appearances for Charlton Athletic on loan last season in League 1, which is ideal for coming down to League 2. He signed for Ipswich in 2022-23 from Plymouth Argyle for £500,000. I've picked him up on a free transfer. It's just too good to turn down. And amazingly enough, his career in England started at Dulwich Hamlet before moving on a free to Crawley Town. But he looks like a really solid signing. Another centre-back came through the doors, Rio Hillen. Picked him up through an agent and he looks pretty good. He's on £4,000 a week, but you've got to bear in mind that I'm making the squad, to use a phrase, leaner and meaner. So that means fewer players, but I'm able to spend higher wages in key areas. And Hillen will be a mainstay at centre-back. And on the subject of centre-backs, another player for the future, 19-year-old Archie Chaplin, another promising player picked up on a free transfer, and he's only on £170 a week, which is a bargain. He's on a 2-year deal, and we got him from Tottenham Hotspur. Another is Armani Richards, didn't cost us anything. He's on £450 per week. Last team he played for was Farnborough on loan, but we picked him up from Leicester City. His deal again expires in the summer, but we'll look to extend that if he does well. This offer is just too good to turn down for Jake Young. 2.7 million it could rise to, with us receiving 2.4 million up front. Now, I'm going to see 650,000 of that. Obviously, the rest of it is going to go in Stefan Rupp's back pocket or wherever it goes. So that is going to be very handy in the transfer market for replacing him, because now I can start looking at players who play for other clubs that are doing really well at other clubs who can hit the ground running at Bradford City, because I'll be able to pay a decent transfer fee for him. And all that's left to do is wish him good luck and say goodbye. The fans are going to be so pissed off at me, but they just need to trust me. I will find a decent replacement. Look at that transfer budget now, and the wage budget is healthy as well. The future is looking bright. I just need to make the right decisions in the transfer market, and the Bristol Street Motors Trophy Northern Section draw already looks a bit of a write-off. Crew are in there, Man City under-21s and Wigan Athletic. I was hoping we might be able to win that, but I'm not too sure, and I'm not going to bank everything on it either. I plan on mainly using the players that I'm developing in this competition to give them an opportunity to really show what they're about and give them chances to play competitive football. So it's important to progress in that trophy because I want the players that I'm developing exposed to as much first team football as possible. And with that, we have the start of the brand new season, and we're starting with the first match, which is at home to Grimsby Town, and this is how we line up. Tyler Smith, last season's top scorer, is up front with Dan Kemp just behind him. Perpion on the left-hand side with Bobby Poynton on the right. And a bit of a surprise, I'm sure, Smallwood in the centre of midfield with Jensen Weir. But obviously, Hillen takes his place at the back, in a back two with Liam Moore. And no surprises at wing-back with Brad Halliday at right wing-back and Denver Hume starting at left wing-back. So this is the full matchday squad. Matt Macy in goal with Brad Halliday and Denver Hume at wing-back with Liam Moore and Rio Hillen as centre-backs. Richie Smallwood and Jensen Weir are in midfield with Bobby Poynton and Cameron Perpion on the wings. And in the number 10 position is Dan Kemp with Tyler Smith as the lone striker. On the bench, Sam Walker, Kyle Bartley, Alex Gilliard, Panucci Kamara, Josh Nichols, Jack Hinchy and Adam Wilson. So let's waste no more time and get straight into the commentary and all the atmosphere at this match. And it's an almost full Valley Parade with an expectant crowd of believed to be over 24,000 for this one. Bradford City sold nearly 16,000 season tickets for this campaign, so expectations are high, and it's Tyler Smith who gets the new campaign underway. And Jensen Weir on the halfway line runs with the ball. Poor pass though, straight into the feet of former Bantam Vernon, whose crossfield ball is cut out by Perpion. Smith with the corner, headed away, only as far as Hillen. He chests the ball down, turns, and lays it back to Halliday, who takes his time before picking out Poynton, whose first touch is poor. And Hunt now. Poynton wins it back, shot from Kemp, but it goes wide. Goal kick to the visitors. Poynton beats Vernon to the ball, heads it down. Robinson first to it, but Kemp gets a toe in, and Smith has it. And it's passed back to Luke Moore. Moore spots the run of Halliday and plays it to him. Poor touch from him. And Grimsby regain possession with Rose, who lays it back to Robinson, who gives it to Hunt. Hunt with a long ball to Vernon, but it's well cut out by Halliday. And now Bradford City can attack. Smith lays it off to Kemp. Kemp gives it to Weir. Weir puts Perpion through, bearing down on goal, but that's wide. And that was a glorious chance to put the Bantams ahead. Malarkey plays it back to Broadbent. Finds Hunt, who's seen a lot of action already. Conte, who finds Amos in space out wide. He crosses, and that's 1-0 to Grimsby Town already. Danny Rose on the near post with a simple tap-in. It's Bradford City 0, Grimsby Town 1, 11 minutes gone. Hunt with a direct free kick. Saved by Macy. Still, the danger's not over, and that's saved again by Macy. And cleared. Grimsby attack again, and a thundering challenge from Perpion to put the ball out of play. Goal kick, Macy, long, gets to the halfway line, that's headed by Poynton to the head of Halliday, but that doesn't reach Weir, and it's intercepted by Rose, outside to Naoa, who runs with the ball onto the edge of the area, lays it back, and Hunt now in space. Thinks about a shot, takes it, and that's tipped onto the bar by Macy. Vernon now gets to the loose ball with Halliday in pursuit, and that's out for a corner. Cries of Mariners from the visiting supporters as Hunt swings in the free kick onto the head of Broadbent, and that is another excellent save from Matt Macy to deny Grimsby Town a second. And it has to be said, this first half really not going the way of Bradford City at the moment, and Grimsby had it again, but Perpignan just mops up the loose ball, and Weir now finds Smith, who squanders possession again, something that's been happening way too often, and I'm sure the manager will want to have a word about that at half time. Rogers looking for a forward pass, can't find one, so he plays it back to Malarkey, and Malarkey with a sea of Bradford City players behind the ball at the moment. Grimsby just can't get out of their own half. Malarkey now with a long hopeful ball forward, but that's going to be cleared up by Denver Hume, who lays the ball to Hillen. And nice little interplay, but again Bradford City give up possession. Rose attempts a shot, but that's blocked. But still, Grimsby have it. Hunt now. Rogers, and again the force back to the halfway line, but that goes into the box, headed away by Hillen, and dangerous, but Hillen heads it out for a corner, and it's Grimsby Town who have the corner kick. But this time it's easily cleared away by Bradford City without too much difficulty. Into injury time in the first half, and that is that the referee has blown up for half time, and it's the visitors who lead. Bradford City 0, Grimsby Town 1, and I'm sure there'll be a lot to be said about the way Bradford City have been so sloppy with possession in the first half. It's Grimsby Town who get the second half underway. Vernon to Robinson. Burnham, the former Bantam, who didn't play the last time the two teams met, which was in April, when Bradford City won 2-0 through goals from Jake Young and Bobby Poynton. Rogers has possession. He plays the ball over the top, but that goes through to Hillen. Throw in. Kemp gets a little flick into the box, but the danger's cleared by Malarkey, only as far as Weir, who shoots and that deflects out for a corner. Smith with the in-swinging corner, headed away by Broadbent. And that's going to go all the way to the halfway line with Perpignan, who lays it back to keeper Macy, who returns the ball to him. And Perpignan looks to get an attack started now, but that's a poor ball. And coming up to the hour mark now, and the manager might just be looking at some options from the bench, try and inject something extra into this performance. Weir fires the ball into the box, that's cleared away though. And back to Weir, who chests it down, shoots, and that's a goal. Comes off the goalkeeper. He really should have done better, but that was an excellent strike from Weir. And Bradford City are level. It's Bradford City 1, Grimsby Town 1. In the first bit of real quality we've seen from the Bantams so far. And that's really got the crowd going. And now there's going to be a double substitution. Perpignan and Smallwood are going off, and Panucci Kamara and Adam Wilson will be their replacements. Broadbent tries to find Vernon, but he's not going to get there. And it's Hunt with the free kick, but that doesn't do anything to test Matt Macy. And this is a bit concerning. Panucci Kamara beset by injuries at Ipswich Town. It'll be a bit of a concern for everybody at Bradford City. Jack Hinchy is coming on to replace him. Hunt, who finds Rogers. Rogers lays it off to Robinson. Nice ball into the box, and is that a penalty? It is. And Danny Rose hoping to get his second goal, and he does. It's Bradford City 1, Grimsby Town 2, 72 minutes on the clock. Bradford City push right up as they go in search of this equaliser. Wilson to Hillen. Hume with a cushioned header. Kemp! And what a strike to open your Bradford City account with. Denver Hume with the cushioned header, and Dan Kemp just hit that first time on the volley with power. The goalkeeper had no chance, and Bradford City are back on level terms. It's Bradford City 2, Grimsby Town 2. And confirmation, today's attendance, 24,023. But here's Smith, and that's 3 to Bradford City. Bradford City are in the lead. But it's not going to count. The assistant referee has his flag up. It's Grimsby with an attacking throw-in, level with the Bradford City penalty area. It's Khan, who finds Hunt. Hunt looks outside, looking for options. Rogers crosses, and that's onto the head of Noah, and that's 3-2 to Grimsby Town, and that's disappointing for the Bantams with only 2 minutes of normal time remaining. It's Grimsby attacking again. Amos pumps the ball into the area towards Khan, and Khan just headers wide. And it's the 811 travelling Grimsby Town supporters making all the noise at the moment. Smith, tame header over the bar, and that is likely to be the last chance Bradford City will get now. The referee blows up for full time to cheers of the visiting supporters, and it finishes Bradford City 2, Grimsby Town 3. Matt Macy's rating is a bit tight really, considering he pulled off so many saves, and one of them an absolute worldie of a save. Dan Kemp gets a 7 for his goal, but it's Jensen Weir who picks up the Bradford City Man of the Match award after a dodgy start to the game admittedly, but he came good with his goal. And what does this mean for the league table? Well, it's the first game of the season, it's not really that important, and to be fair, most teams who end up going up as champions seem to have a habit of losing their first game of the season. I mean, it's not an exact science that, but it's not something to worry too much about. Bradford City have got off to dodgy starts before and come good, and I'm not too worried about our position at this moment in time. The team need a little bit of time to gel, and I need to sort of work on what's going to get the best out of the team as well. Then things will start rolling. But the transfer window is not closed yet. In the next episode, I have got another big name signing coming your way, and we will be bringing a few new faces in, and there will be some people departing. So if you want to see how we get on, do take a moment just to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can be updated as soon as there is another episode on its way. And also, if you did like this, please do take a moment to hit the like button as well, because it all really helps. And if you want, leave a comment, let me know what you think about the signings that I've made, like Dan Kemp and players like that, and what you think about Andy Cook leaving. Is it something you'd have done, or wouldn't you have done it? Let me know. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to watch this. I hope you like the new look that I've given it, and all that's left to say is I will catch you later.